So, Pragmata is finally out, and between that and games like Stellar Blade, Lies of P, South of Midnight, and even the upcoming Saros coming out next week, which kind of builds on the success of Returnal, you have to wonder, are the big publishers actually starting to listen to us about the kind of games that we like and actually want to play? Or are these kind of just lucky glitches in the matrix like Clear Obscura was a beautiful outlier last year, winning every single award that was available? Look, let's be real. None of these games are going to outsell the latest Call of Duty or EAFC. Those are our guilty pleasures. They're the reliable burgers that we order when we're tired. But if you only eat burgers, you're going to start to forget what real flavor actually tastes like. And I mentioned this in my last video. If you hadn't had a chance to take a look at that again, please go ahead and watch that video and let me know what your gaming guilty pleasure is. Back to what I'm saying though, we have to make space in our gaming diet for weird stuff like butter chicken and pizza. It sounds really weird, but combining the Italian and Indian flavor, I'm glad to report, actually tastes fantastic. And if you haven't tried that yet, go ahead and do that. It's an absolute revelation. That's exactly what Pragmata feels like to me. It's this wild blend of puzzle solving and combat that looks really, really bizarre at first. But once you get into the rhythm, it starts to surprise you. And you're almost surprised at just how intuitive it starts to feel, and you just get into the rhythm. It's a reminder of why we fell in love with gaming in the first place. More for the journey and the experience, and not just for like the XP or rewards or the loot boxes that they're constantly just trying to sell us. I mean, think back to when you were a kid. Remember when your mom or dad, they went to the store to buy that one game you kept on telling them about that you really, really wanted, and then they got to the store and they totally blanked on the name. They couldn't remember what it was, and they asked just some random worker who was there who really didn't really know anything about games either, just for a recommendation of a good game. And they would just come home with some obscure title that you'd never heard of, and you'd be super bummed at first because it wasn't, one, the game that you wanted, and secondly, it's this thing that you've never heard of. And then you boot it up and you play it, and suddenly your whole perspective is shifted on what this game actually was. You've totally forgotten about, well, maybe not totally forgotten, but you set aside the expectations that you had for the prior game that you really wanted before, and you stumbled on this new experience that just shifts your entire view of a game. And all of a sudden you have something that is unique that you can go and talk about with your friends, or say that I got this random title and it actually turned out to be a fantastic game. And for me, the way I look at that is, as my dad always says, no knowledge is ever wasted, good or bad. You can always learn something from your mistakes in as much as you can learn something from your successes. And people will most likely say you will learn more from your mistakes than you will from your successes. Every single time a developer takes a risk on a new mechanic or a weird story, they're learning. And when we actually buy these games, we're telling the industry that, hey, it's okay to try something new. It's okay to fail as long as you're being creative. And this is the crux of the industry that we're in. This is a creative medium. It is an art form. And you have to make sure that you're continually taking risks. That's the reason why the gaming platform or industry as it is right now has evolved to what it is, because people took risks. They evolved the system. Remember when the whole Arkham style Batman fighting mechanic came out? That was something entirely new that no one had seen before. That was a huge risk that they took. And all of a sudden, even in some games still to this day, That's the basis for combat systems for a lot of games. And that was because those particular developers decided to take that risk, try something new, put that new experience in, and it was something that every single person resonated with, so much so that it's almost become the the basis for any game that's creating some kind of hand-to-hand combat to this day. Back to the question though. Are they learning? This is a really tricky one because while you still see these instances of these games that kind of come out, and Capcom in specifically, they've a been a bit of on a roll right now so far. They've released a ton of great games, and then they still have these, pockets where they put out a game like Pragmata that took so long and was in development hell. I mean, it was shown, I think, back in 2020 or even before then, and it's just come out now, almost 6 years later, and it's still getting so much play. And you're seeing so many people coming out and saying that, hey, it's not something that's entirely fantastic, right? But for what it is, it's a fun game with a unique twist, and it's a great fun time. Pretty simple and while we do still see these instances here and there are still, a lot of companies that are chasing, the live service dragon, and they're still stumbling and falling. And you're seeing a significant dip in a lot of these live service franchises now these days. And I think we're cresting maybe the wave or the cycle where the live service craze is slowly starting to dwindle and die off. And more, especially because of the current economic climate, most of these publishers and developers are going back to either tried and true staples that they're aware of, whether it's either a remake or a revamping or something like that, or they're taking a formula that's already existing based off of the feedback that they're hearing from the public, and they're trying something new. And we're seeing how the market reacts to that. And if that's something that, sticks, then they do something with it. Case in point, Returnal. That was a fantastic game when it came out. It had its own unique twist on it by this particular company that's been doing a lot of good work before in the past, but this was something new that they were going to try, and it resonated so well with the entire industry, won a bunch of awards, and now they've come out with Saros, which is coming out next week, which essentially in spirit is a Returnal sequel. And that's just proof of developers taking a risk, getting creative, putting something new out there, people paying and voting with their dollars to say, hey, this is something I like, this is something I enjoy. The awards cycle too as well, reinforcing that. And they're like, great, we listened. This looks like something that had a great return, pun intended, with Returnal, and we're going to do it again. We're going to roll the dice again with Saros. We're going to improve on that whole dynamic and formula and see what happens. That's the unique phase that we're in right now. Some of these companies have started to realize that these outliers are some of those games that really define a generation. They either start a new trend, or they create this entirely new genre of gaming, or this entirely new experience that starts something and people just start talking about it, and then it evolves into either something new, or it just stays as just something different that is a flashpoint for us as gamers to say, remember that one game? It was super weird. It had all this stuff about it, but it was fun. And that's what we kind of come to this at the end of the day. Asking that question, is the game fun? And we need to continue to put our money where our mouth is, because that's only going to continue to have good returns with cases like this, where a game like Pragmata can actually exist in the world of your Call of Duties, your Fortnites, your EAFCs, you still have these games that can come out and stand on their own and do something different and be fun and be exciting and be refreshing. And that's pretty much it. They're not asking for anything more. They're not asking you to spend more money on them. I mean, it would be great if they could do a DLC. That would be awesome. But, that's a separate thing entirely. They're not asking you to be online all the time. They're not asking you to, spend money on loot boxes. There's so many collectibles in the game that you can literally just go and find for yourself and have in your home zone, essentially. And then there's the additional challenges that you can also go to as well and redo them and do them over and over again until you get, even better high scores. It's just a lot of value for what it is, with a unique spin on a concept that we've seen before. With the protagonists, the protagonists are awesome. They're incredibly likable, despite the whole weirdness of the whole situation between like a little girl AI and the dad almost figure. But still, it's a fun dynamic, and we need to continue to support things like this because it shows, the guys in the suits upstairs that this is working. This is something that we can put money behind and we can continue to invest in, and we can support the experimental. We can support the risks, because a world where we only play safe games is a world where gaming stops being an art form and just becomes a product or turns into AI slop, which I believe no one playing video games or in this industry right now wants to happen. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this. Leave a comment, like and subscribe if you want to. Stay safe out there. Peace.